their fair share of the time to present their evidence. There are charges or accusations that the governor was not willing to work with the members of the county assembly. But this morning, according to the legal team yesterday when they are presenting their case, is that they have evidence of how the governor tried to, reach out to these members of the county assembly of Meru County. But of course, it is the MCAs who did not want to meet up with the governor. This is according to the legal team, and they say they have evidence to that effect. The other thing concerning the video clips, especially on the allegations of appointments that were done by the roadside during the cross-examination, we saw the MCA, who is the mover of that motion of the impeachment for the governor of Meru County, being cross-examined and was put to task to explain a number of issues. For instance, the issue on the two memoranda that had a similar wording at the same time also had a similar mistake. There was also the issue that came up on the appointments, on whether those who have so far been allegedly appointed by the roadside by the governor, whether they have been receiving pay or any benefits to that effect. And this morning, the governor's side now will be taking the stand to present any witnesses if they had. On Tuesday, we saw the county assembly side presenting 4 of the witnesses, aside from the video clips that they played before the committee. As you can see, that is the Senate chambers. This particular hearing, the impeachment proceedings hearing, is taking place at the Senate chambers. And as you can see, is that preparations are underway. Members or either party that is concerned with this hearing is walking into the chambers from the legal teams of both sides. We are yet to see the committee members. It is an 11-member committee led by Kakamega Senator Honorable Boni Halwale and 11 other members. We are yet to see them walk into the chambers. As you can see, legal teams from both sides there greeting each other. The session is about to begin, and it will begin with Governor Kawira's legal team presenting its evidence. 5 charges were leveled against Governor Kawira Mwangaza. She is already there, as you can see. She was also present yesterday, and this morning she is also around. Today is the second day and will be marking the last day. 2 days have been set aside for this hearing by the committee that was given this mandate by the Senate, and it will be writing its report after this to table before the whole Senate House on 30th. So preparations are still on. Members are yet to come into the chambers, but parties that are concerned with this impeachment, both legal team and governor herself, is already in. 5 charges were leveled against her. For instance, the nepotism, illegal appointments, unlawful dismissal, and usurpation of constitutional and statutory functions of county organs. The members saying that there was gross misconduct and gross violation of Articles 10, 232, 235, and 236 of the Constitution, and yet gross violation of Section 17 of the Public Officer Ethics Act, grossly violation of Sections 55, 59, 59A, 60, 62, 63, 64, and 65 of the County Governments Act, gross violation of Section 6 and 11 of the Meru County Youth Service Act. Remember the issue of the appointments, where the governor is said to have appointed her husband to head the Meru County Youth Service. And of course, lots of discussion came about on that issue. And according to Kawira Governor, from the clips that were being played, of course, Kenyans heard her saying that she will not be giving out any payment to this appointment or appointee that at this point is her husband, who was to be heading the Meru County Youth Service. But this morning, the legal team has, of course, a difficult time also to defend themselves from all these charges. The first charge is on the nepotism and illegal appointments. There is also another charge. The second charge is on incitement, bullying, vilification, and misleading campaigns against other leaders. In this case, the governor is said to have grossly violated Articles 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution, grossly violation of Section 19 of the Public Office Ethics Act, grossly violated Section 29 and 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act, and repeatedly engaged in gross misconduct by, for instance, here holding public vilification, incitement, and humiliation rallies against members of the Assembly and other elected leaders, falsely accusing members of the Assembly and other elected leaders of cartelism, blackmail, greed, corruption, and intimidation. That is the legal team of Governor Kawira, just having a chat on how they will be presenting their evidence, what material they will be playing, if they have any video clips that they will be playing, if they have any witnesses that they will be putting on the stand to tell the story that is on their side. A third charge that was leveled against Governor Kawira Mwangaza on Tuesday, as the County Assembly legal team was presenting its case, is that there was forceful entry into the Assembly precincts and mobilization of unlawful riots against members of the Assembly. This one raising issues on the governor and her husband, that they grossly violated Articles 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution, a grossly violation of Sections 5 and 7 of the County Assembly's Powers and Privileges Act 2017. And she's also said to have engaged in gross misconduct by forcefully entering the precincts of the Assembly, falsely accusing members of the Assembly and other elected leaders of cartelism, blackmail, greed, corruption, and intimidation, organizing a violent demonstration against the members of the Assembly at the Assembly precincts, and addressing a riotous crowd at the precincts of the Assembly. All these are charges that were read to her, that is Governor Kawira Mwangaza, yesterday when the County Assembly legal team was presenting its case before the Special Senate Committee. And these are some of the charges that the legal team of Kawira Mwangaza will be seeking to rule out and perhaps present its evidence that will be defending their client. Remember yesterday when they were responding to the charges, they said all these were political witch hunt, and that there is no evidence that merits the impeachment of Governor Kawira Mwangaza. So all said and done, of course, the committee is out here to listen to both sides, but what will determine, of course, is again the evidence that will be presented by the accusers, of course, and the ones who are defending the governor, to see whether the evidence that will be presented will amount to impeachment or impeaching Governor Kawira. There is another charge on the misconduct relating to nomination of County Executive Committee members. The governor is said to have engaged in gross misconduct and grossly violated Articles 10, 73, 75 of the Constitution, a gross violation of Section 10, subsection 1 of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act 2017, and grossly violated Sections 3, 4, and 10, and 11 of Meru County Retention Enhancement Fund Act 2016 by number one, vilifying members of the Assembly for refusing to approve some county executive committee, commonly referred to as CECs, nominees at a public rally held at Kiangua in Igoji West Ward. There is also the accusation on falsely accusing members of the Assembly of shortchanging Kasti Micheni and other nominees for the appointment to the CEC position, illegally instructing Kasti Micheni to usurp the statutory functions of the Igoji West Ward Retention Enhancement Fund Committee by identifying the persons that would benefit from county bursary funds, failing to submit names of other candidates to the County Assembly for approval for appointment to the CEC. Of course, after the Assembly rejected some nominees, there is also that she is said to have failed to submit names of other candidates to the County Assembly for approval for appointment to the CEC after the Assembly rejected nominees, reorganizing her government to 6 departments and 3 CEC members after rejection of some nominees, instead of submitting names of other candidates to the County Assembly for approval. Those are just but a few of the charges and accusations that the governor is facing, and that is what has led to this impeachment proceeding or this impeachment hearing that is being undertaken by the Senate, of course, within its mandate to handle such issues according to the Constitution. Today marks day 2, and after all that happened yesterday, in the morning and in the afternoon, the better part was for the County Assembly to present its evidence. Remember, the County Assembly is the one that moved this motion and impeached the governor, and of course, forwarding this matter to the Senate. This is the final decision for this particular sitting or this impeachment. Once the report is written, it will be tabled before the whole Senate House, that is on 30th, this Friday. And of course, members will have an opportunity to ventilate on that report, and we will see the way forward with regards to that. What we are currently waiting for is the entry of the special committee, the Senate special committee. As you can see, both teams, both parties are already in. This is the legal team of Honorable Kawira Mwangaza. And of course, once the chair of the committee, Senator Boni Halwale, walks in, of course, we will see the other members also coming in, and the sitting will start. It had been scheduled to start at 10, it's 10:16. So, of course, we are waiting for the membership of that committee to be walking in and, of course, take charge for this hearing. Whether the legal team for Honorable Kawira Mwangaza will have any witnesses, it will be its time now to present its witnesses. Whether there are any video clips, whether there are any written materials, that will be its time. This morning will be its time to present all that evidence. At the end of the day, evidence is what will play out or will determine how this particular case will go. The County Assembly side already had its share of presenting its evidence the whole of Tuesday afternoon, a sitting that went all the way late into the night, at least to enable that side wind up on the evidence and witnesses, cross-examination and re-examination of the witnesses, and of course looking at what exactly is in the video clip, what it entails, of course, with regards to the charges that are being leveled against Honorable Kawira Mwangaza. So this morning, Kenyans will be able to understand what the legal team for Honorable Kawira have or has to table before the committee to defend their client, of course, against all the charges that have been leveled against her. There is the charge on the incitement, bullying, vilification, and misleading campaigns against other leaders. This one, Governor is said to have grossly violated Articles 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution, grossly violated Section 19 of the Public Officer Ethics Act, also grossly violated Section 29 and 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act, and repeatedly engaged in gross misconduct by holding public vilification, incitement, and humiliation rallies against members of the Assembly and other elected leaders. Inciting the public against the members of the Assembly and other elected leaders while knowing that such conduct can easily trigger violent reactions and cause serious breaches of peace. Accusations under this charge, there is also falsely accusing members of the Assembly and other elected leaders of cartelism, blackmail, greed, corruption, and intimidation. The chambers, as you can see, is already full. And the team that is being weighted is the Senate Special Committee, the members of that committee to get into the chambers and, of course, lead the House, or rather lead the different teams into hearing this petition case. Governor Kawira Mwangaza already seated anxiously there and, of course, waiting for the leadership of the committee to walk in and have her legal team present the evidence that they have so far gathered from all the time that the impeachment case began. Governor Kawira Mwangaza is also facing the charge of violation of public finance management laws. And on this charge, she said to have grossly violated Articles 201 and 207, subsection 1 of the Constitution, grossly violated Section 159 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, grossly violated Sections 12 and 24 of the Public Officer Ethics Act, grossly violated Section 16 and 35 of the Leadership and Integrity Act, and is said to have engaged in gross abuse of office by directing the Meru Teaching and Referral Hospital to spend all revenue at source, whereas all monies raised or received by or on behalf of the county should be paid into the county revenue fund. She is also said to have engaged in gross abuse of office by issuing waivers on fees at the Meru Teaching and Referral Hospital, whereas the County Executive Committee member for Finance is the only person legally empowered to grant such waivers. On this charge, Honorable Governor Kawira Mwangaza is also accused of abuse of office by directing county government officers to participate in furthering and advancing the interest of Baite TV, a media station owned by Mwangaza Advertiser Limited. This is a private company owned by the governor through her close relatives as proxies. So 5 charges that she is facing, all having been detailed in different grounds. And this morning, the legal team will be using the better part of the morning, a sitting or a session that will go all the way to the afternoon. But at the end of the day, the legal team will have its time to present its evidence. Of course, here, trying by all means to counter all these accusations that have been leveled against her 5 charges. And yesterday, its legal team, while responding to these charges, of course, the governor herself had denied all these charges, and its legal team termed all of them as political witch hunt and lack merit to warrant her impeachment. So basically, this morning they will be given that opportunity, because yesterday they said they have enough evidence on all these charges, starting from the one that MCS said that the governor does not want to work with the MCS, and all the way to the one that she made roadside appointments. There was also the issue of public participation, on whether the public participation was done in the correct manner, as we had seen the legal team from Governor Kawira Mwangaza saying that there was a bit of coercion on the side of the members of county assembly. Also, the public did not have enough time to do the public participation. And the legal team said they have enough evidence to that effect. So this morning, it will be their turn to counter all those accusations, of course, not just by word of mouth, but of course by presenting evidence, whether they will be having any witnesses taking the stand, whether they will be having any material, written material, whether they will be having any video clips to be played. Then this morning they will have that chance. What we are currently waiting for is for the committee, the special committee that is steering this hearing, to walk into the chambers, take their positions, and of course call the House, in this case, to order and start the hearing. And of course, it will be the legal team for the Governor Kawira Mwangaza taking the time to present their evidence on, or rather before the committee. Governor Kawira Mwangaza, as you can see, she is there, of course, ready to have her team present her and give out all the evidence they have that will be countering all these accusations that have so far been leveled against her. On the grounds that make the charges, there is a ground that she is said to have done roadside appointments of county workers at Timau. There is also another ground that is said to have she did a roadside appointment of county workers at Nkubu. Yet another roadside appointment of county workers at Kianjai. And there is also a legal committee on the Meru municipality. And all these grounds that form the charges, the county assembly legal team yesterday presented their evidence by way of video clips. They played the video clips before the committee. On the roadside appointment of county workers at Timau, the governor is said to have grossly violated Articles 10, 232, 235, and 236 of the Constitution, and grossly violated Sections 55, 59, 59A, 60, 62, 63, 64, and 65 of the County Governments Act by appointing firefighters at a public rally at Timau, where they say in misguided and unsustainable populism, before conducting a transparent and competitive recruitment process. And as you can see, members, or rather all those individuals in the chambers have been ordered to stand. As you can see, the chair of this committee with his members are walking into the chambers. It's an 11-member committee led by Senator Honorable Boni Halwale, Kakamega Senator, and also Senate Majority Chief Whip. He is in the chambers. These proceedings are taking place at the Senate chambers. I will now hand you over for this live broadcast brought to you by KBC in partnership with Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit. Good morning. My name is Kamche Menza.
Us, thy servants, whom thou hast been pleased to call to leadership positions in this republic, we seek guidance to treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. We may be seated. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. We thank you for yesterday. We thank God for the mercies of allowing us to come this far. So far, so good. I want that before we start the program, I would like to give the Council of the County Assemblies, the lead council, an opportunity if he has anything procedural to raise. Same to the Council of the Governor.
Thank you very much, Chair, for the opportunity. As intimidated in the night, I note it was in the morning, though it was at night. You gave us leave yesterday morning to file additional replies in response to the additional material that the governor placed on record. And last night I had explained to the Senate the practical difficulty we find ourselves in, that we were here up to around midnight. We had to steal a few hours of rest and now are here again. And you must terminate your proceedings today. So it is not humanly possible for us to place those materials on record between now and the time this trial ends. So in the circumstances, we pray for two options subject to whatever finds favor with you. One, we could place the material on record later on after we adjourn today. That will give problems that the other side might equally tell you they have not seen it, it has not been tested before this forum, so that will raise its own problems. Alternatively, you could allow us, as we cross-examine the witnesses called by the governor, to cross-examine on those additional materials, and tied to that, you could excuse us, so that, because my concern when I was raising the issue is I didn't want the record to reflect that I was given the opportunity to file additional material, but I did not take up that opportunity when the reason for my failure to take it is that it was humanly impossible within the time frames fixed by law. That was the request, Chair.
The Council for the Governor.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman and Honorable Committee. The representative for the Governor, as yesterday, my name is Manasseh Mwangi, the lead counsel. We appear together with Mr. Elias Mutuma and Mr. Robert Mutebei. On our part, we do not have any procedural issue that would like to address at this point. However, I would like to respond to the issue raised by the Council for the County Assembly with the kind permission of Honorable Chair. Yesterday, the team for the governor supplied materials and a supplementary affidavit, which was allowed. It had been served on the Council for the County Assembly the day before yesterday. In the course of arguing whether or not those materials should be placed on record, the Council for the County Assembly indicated they had perused through those materials and they had seen there is nothing in it and they would add no value. They were all aware, all along, what is the contents of the evidentiary materials that we added in these proceedings. Honorable Chairman, we are opposed to the two suggestions that the Council for the County Assembly invites this committee to allow them to exercise. One, they had an opportunity to address those materials yesterday in the course of fielding their witnesses. They would have referred their witnesses to the materials that were new and let them comment, trashing them. In fact, that happened after the examination in chief, and towards the end of that part of examination in chief, the witnesses for the County Assembly were taken through the bundles of documents produced by the governor. And that was the opportunity for the Council for the County Assembly to introduce any evidence that would controvert the evidentiary material that was supplied as a supplementary. Honorable Chairman, there was another opportunity and another way out. The Council for the County Assembly would have prayed and made an application before this committee and request to be allowed to field a witness, either with a very short witness statement and the rest of the testimony be taken on oath from the witness stand. And Honorable Chairman, we had yesterday so many witnesses who came and departed from the witness statements they had supplied us, and they gave totally new evidence. We did not object to that. They had that opportunity, and they did not exercise it. If material is introduced after we have closed our case, the Council for the County Assembly states it rightly. We will never have an opportunity or even knowing what is the nature of those materials. This morning, this committee has not been told what are the materials that are intended to be introduced. What is the value of those materials to the case for the County Assembly? And what will be the importance of those materials in controverting any defense that the governor may field? This committee, just the same as the Council for the Governors, we do not know what materials we are being told is going to be introduced later. It is not even suggested by way of passing, even from the stand by the Council, what kind of materials will be supplied. We object to the suggestion and the invitation to crawl in the darkness to agree to materials which we do not know what they contain. The last option, that in the course of cross-examination, new evidence can be introduced, I have already stated. That opportunity was available yesterday, and they had all the documents and all that evidence that the governor is fielding today. They could have done that in the course of examination in chief and re-examination. They take through their witnesses through all our statements and affidavits, and they allow them controvert. We cannot allow introduction of evidence at the defense hearing. And there will be a legal, the last point, there will be a legal dilemma. That evidence that will be introduced through cross-examination, will it be the testimony of the County Assembly or the testimony of the Council for the County Assembly? That can be a dilemma that cannot be addressed in law, and it's unheard of. We object to those proposals. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Members, just take note. I want us to exhaust completely so that when you come in, it now invites me to make a ruling. Mr. Muthomi Thia Ngolu, what is your take?
Chair, I think my colleague has forgotten a number of things. One, you already made the decision to allow us to respond to that material. That decision, I don't think, is being appealed or revisited. It has been made. The reason I made the request I made before you is that although you granted me that leave, it is evident to everyone who has either been here or following these proceedings that me and my entire team was stuck here all way past midnight. And although on paper, the chair gave me the opportunity, it has not been humanly possible for me to take that opportunity. And I told you my fear is that whereas it is humanly impossible, I am afraid when your committee retreats, it will have in its mind that I was given an opportunity that I didn't take up, and yet the reason I didn't take it up was that it was humanly impossible within the circumstances and context we were working. Number two, listening to the high moral ground taken by my colleague, he forgets my colleague has forgotten how we got here. And if I remind the Senate how we got here, is that the governor filed documents out of time. The registry, the clerk's office advised the governor, you're filing these documents out of time, we cannot accept them. Go to the committee, seek leave to have these documents admitted on the record. And the committee gave him that leave. No one can fault the committee for that, except that immediately he was given that leave and the documents were treated. He tells you they were served on us. What he hasn't told you on the record, which I had told you yesterday, he not only filed them outside the time set by your rules, he actually purported to serve them way past 5 p.m. on the day after the expiry of his deadline. And I remember telling you, we saw those documents yesterday morning as we were packing our bundles. He tells you, because I made certain passing comments on those documents, it is clear, therefore, I have had the opportunity to reflect on them. Chair, that is not how it works. In our profession, what I would do if we were in an ideal situation, and this is not ideal because of the timelines, is that my team and I will sit down, go through those documents with a tooth comb, flag what we believe are the issues, take instructions from our client, the county assembly, and based on our reflections and the instructions we get, we will then be able to decide what response, what position do we take. Things I took on the bar here studying extempore cannot really be taken. My colleague knows that's not how the legal profession works. And at any rate, Chair, for me, if you assure me that this human impossibility my team and I are placed in will not be used against us, then there is not an issue.
You've met your point. Members, I want now to make a ruling. If any one of you would like to help us a little bit by sharing his thoughts, these things must be done in the open. Yes.
Chair, thank you. And I want to just support what the Council for the County Assembly has said. Mr. Chairman, in my position, I don't think that the Council for the Governor has any standing to raise the objection that he raised. And I'm happy that Council for the Assembly has reminded him how we got here. I'm looking at my notes, Chair. The items that were introduced, they told us they omitted 3 affidavits from their own bundle. Then one video that forms part of the record was not uploaded, or they gave the wrong flash disk. They are not in any position to raise the objection that they are raising. I do not see any prejudice that would be suffered by the governor if counsel for the county assembly was allowed to cross-examine on this material that we very graciously accepted ourselves as a committee. And you remember, Chair, the thinking was that in these proceedings, we would like as much material as possible placed before this committee so that we can help save the situation in the county of Meru. So I think from where I sit, counsel for the governor is out of order with that objection, Mr. Chair.
Chairman.
Arif?
Yes, very quickly, Chairman, the position by the Council of the County Assembly is the true position, because that is the point at which we closed last night, and that was already granted. It's not a new request that is being processed, but a request that has already been granted as it is, and in the actual sense from the proceedings of yesterday, the favor was extended by the County Assembly, legal team, by not objecting but allowing that to happen. And if they don't have time now, I think the cross-examination should be given the opportunity for them to do what needs to be done. And that ruling happened yesterday. It's not a new ruling.
Yes, Vice Chair, you will come after Senator Moruma.
Sorry, Chair. What I wanted to raise has been raised by Senator already, Ali, Roba, that the decision for
Moruma, if you give me 2 minutes, just hold it here.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to state that what Senator Ali has said is that the decision was made yesterday, that the Council for the MCAs can respond to the affidavits and the extra video during the cross-examination. That's it.
Yes, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to confirm that, and I think that is where we stopped yesterday. By them being allowed to cross-examine the Council for the County Assemblies of Meru, the new evidence, the new affidavit that the governor's people brought in. So they should be allowed to cross-examine. And that you ruled yesterday, Chair. It's not...
Kiambu.
Thank you very much, Chair, and good morning. I would just want to remind the Council of the Governor, of which the Governor is a bishop, that in the Bible, book of Matthew, there was a servant who was forgiven his debts. But later on, he went to get the money from another servant whom he owed. So what I'm trying to say is that yesterday we allowed the governor to produce extra. We actually give them evidential flexibility. But now they don't want the side of the assembly to execute that evidence. But my question is, at what time do we allow the assembly to execute that evidence? I said before the governor starts executing their case, or is it within? I know they're asking when it's coming to cross-examination. So I have not consulted my friend lawyer here, Sifuna, but I'm putting this across so that we see what is the best part. Either we agree with the assembly, they start with their case now, or whatever you decide, Chairman.
That is it. Mandago, you have something?
Thank you very much, Chair. This is Senator Mandako for Wasingisha, and my apologies, I was not able to be here yesterday, but I followed the proceedings very keenly. Mr. Chairman, listening to the counsel for the governor, I really don't understand why, if they are confident themselves when they submitted this additional evidence, as to why the County Assembly Council cannot prosecute the same. So I think in the interest of fairness, because we want to have as much information as possible as a committee to enable us make a fair and just decision, as a chairman, I think it's only fair that the County Assembly Council is given opportunity to look at the, to cross-examine this new evidence.
Thank you. Senator Tobiko.
Chair, I think maybe, what is clear, of course, that it was already allowed yesterday to be done at cross-examination. But I think what the council for the County Assembly is asking is if they can put in written responses later on. I think that's the issue now.
So, this is a small one. We don't have to retreat to make a decision. The decision is hereby made. Council for the County Assembly, you have absolutely no excuse to want to give the impression that there is something which is humanly, using your own language, humanly impossible. We have had a lot of time. We adjourned at 1:45. That is 5.5 hours for you to sleep. Then if you woke up at 6, you have had all the morning up to now, which is 10. So you have all the time. The issue of time does not arise. The second point is to the counsel for the governor. As the white people who taught us this procedure say, what is good for the goose is always good for the gander. So if it was good for the goose, called the governor, to be allowed to file that evidence yesterday, that which you should have filed by 5 p.m. on 25th, on Saturday. Yes? On 24th. By 5 p.m. 24th on Saturday. If it was good for you. Then you must carry it with you that it was also good for the gander to also enjoy what we allowed the County Assembly to enjoy. But when we allowed the County Assembly, we did not give them a blanket. We asked them to make a decision on how they want to be accommodated. And they have said, Council, that all they will do is not to try and file new evidence. Even if they did, it would not be admissible. They're just saying, as you prosecute your case, they will come and cross-examine your witnesses, and during that process, they'll be able to achieve that which they thought they were losing. So we are granting them that for every witness you bring, they'll cross-examine, and you don't have to fear, because even after cross-examination, you will be given an opportunity to re-examine. And if there are any areas that look rough, you'll brush them off, and everybody will be happy. That will be the ruling. And seeing that there's no other interjection, there's one final thing which I didn't do. I'm sorry.
Chair, kindly. Chair.
What is that?
I'm by you, sir. Honorable Chair, this is not on the submissions.
Mr. Speaker, order, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you will be seated. will be seated. Mr. Speaker, sir. Order. So there is also something procedural which I had not done. Forgive me for this. Immediately after prayer, I want to allow honorable members, one by one, members of the committee, you introduce yourselves, starting with my fire.
Good morning again. My name is Peris Tobiko, nominated senator and a member of the select committee. Thank you.
Good morning all. My name is Jones Maruma, senator for Taita Taveta, member of this committee.
Good morning, everyone. Once again, my name is Edwin Sifuna, senator for Nairobi and a member of this committee.
My name is Karungo Wadhangwa, senator, Kiambu County, and a member of this committee.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Eddie Gisheru Okech, senator for Migori County, and humbled to be a member of this committee.
My name is Jackson Mandago, the senator for Singishu County and a member of this committee.
Good morning. My name is Okenyuri Esther, nominated senator and a member of this committee.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Joseph Kiduku, senator for Lamu, and a member of this committee. I'm sorry.
Morning, everyone. My name is Ali Ibrahim Roba, senator for Mandera County and member of this committee.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Senator Kavindu Agnes Mudhama, senator for Machakos County. I'm the vice chair of this committee.
Thank you very much. Also in plenary, we have the following members of the National Assembly and distinguished senators. The Honorable Mburi Apuri, Member of Parliament from Meru. The Honorable Senator Cherargei, Senator of Nandi. Senator of Nandi, could you please? They want to know who it is. Me, I know who you are. Thank you. Thank you very much, Senator. The Honorable Senator Meru